What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our ACC football channel. It's time for our 2019 schedule preview for the Clemson Tigers, and we'll be doing this for every Power 5 team. We actually already did Notre Dame. Today we'll be doing the other playoff teams, Clemson, Alabama, and Oklahoma. And you'll see 1, 2, maybe even 3 of these videos every day here on the channel as we go through and preview all these schedules. If you need help trying to keep track of all this, just go to sg1sports.com. We'll have a list there, and you can just click on the team you want to see and go to that video once that team is done, because we're trying to get this done in about a month, maybe less than that. This is kind of the first thing we do as we start breaking these teams down. We're also doing our quarterback rankings, running back rankings, position rankings for each conference, and doing some other things as well. But the schedules are kind of the first thing I like to look at, because some of the rosters are still being settled. You'll have quarterback battles. You'll have the recruits coming in, transfers, things like that. We kind of wait to hold off on a real in-depth preview for these teams, at least until we get to spring practice. So anyways, let's get started here with the schedule, and it's not that bad. Once again, Clemson has a fairly easy path to the college football playoffs. Georgia Tech to open up the season. That's a Thursday night game, but it's at home, and then they get Texas A&M at home, Syracuse on the road, Charlotte at North Carolina, Florida State at Louisville, Boston College, Wofford at NC State, Wake Forest, and on the road at South Carolina. And just to kind of recap what this team has coming back, if you missed those videos, we gave out our early thoughts on each division, all the Power 5 conferences, and you can go back and watch that. I talked a little bit more about Clemson. But offensively, they pretty much return everyone. They have a couple of offensive linemen they lose. Hunter Renfro, a pretty big loss there at receiver, but they've got plenty of other options. The defense is where they have some issues. Lose 5 key guys on the defensive line, 4 at linebacker, 4 guys that played. Lose a starting cornerback and another senior that played some. So there are a lot of losses on defense. This defense, I don't think, will be as good as it was last season. And I think because of that, maybe there's a chance, a little bit more potential for a loss as you look at this schedule. It's a tough stretch, really, to start off. Georgia Tech, Texas A&M on the road at Syracuse. I don't know if anyone in the country has 3 games tougher than that to start out the season. And I've just started looking at schedules, so maybe somebody does. But usually there's an FCS team or a group of 5 team, someone there early in the season. But that's not the case for Clemson. They jump right into conference play, 2 of their first 3 games, a big non-conference game against Texas A&M. So that is a tough stretch right there. Florida State might be a little better this year, but they get them at home. And again, it's just tough to find any real challengers in the ACC for Clemson. So we like to look at the schedule and give some easy wins, not automatic wins, but the games that you feel very, very confident. I mean, it would take a huge fluke for Clemson to lose this game. So those games, how many do we have? I think we can definitely put Charlotte in that category. I think Georgia Tech, a first-year head coach, opening up in Death Valley. I mean, there's really no way Clemson loses that game unless it's just because of the fact that they haven't seen this Georgia Tech team and maybe they catch them off guard. But I don't see that happening. I think that's an easy win. North Carolina and Louisville were both horrible last year. They do play both of those teams on the road, so that makes you wonder just a little bit if there could be a big upset in the making with one of those games. But I'm going to go ahead based off of last year and say that those should be easy wins, pretty much automatic wins for Clemson, and then Wofford there as well, an FCS opponent. So yes, you can give Clemson 5 wins, no doubt about it. They're going to win those games. Now we look ahead at the games that they should win. It would be a very big surprise if they lost these games. Boston College at home, they lose a lot from last season. I don't expect that to be too much of a test. NC State on the road, but I mean, they lost a lot on offense, so I don't really see that being a big issue. Wake Forest is interesting. If that was on the road, I don't think I would green that one at this point. But, yeah, at home, I'm going to say they'll win that game. That really only leaves 4 games. Texas A&M, Syracuse, Florida State, South Carolina. They're not going to lose all 4 of these games. No way they lose 4 of these games. I think worst case scenario might be that they would lose 2 of these games, but I really don't even see that happening. I mean, they're going to be heavy favorites in all 4 of these games. It would absolutely be the worst case scenario for Clemson to lose 2 games. Texas A&M, maybe they sneak up and beat them. Florida State, maybe. But again, both of those games are at home, so it's hard to see them losing really any games. I think you have to look at the projected wins for Clemson between 11 and 12. I don't see them losing more than one game. And I right now probably will not pick them to lose a game. I might. Again, I have a long ways to go when I'm evaluating these teams, and I like to try to pick some upsets along the way. And I think complacency would be a reason why they would get upset after winning so many games in a row. Maybe you overlook a team somewhere on the schedule. We've seen Clemson do that in the past, so that's why I think it's possible they lose to someone. It's hard to figure out who that team would be. Syracuse has played them really tough, beat them a couple of years ago, almost beat them last year, so maybe that's the game that they lose. South Carolina is going to bring a lot back. It's a rivalry game. We saw them have some success throwing the football last year. Maybe that offense gets going again for the Gamecocks. Maybe they're able to pull off an upset. But again, it's just tough to find a loss for Clemson. I think more than likely they do finish 12-0, maybe 11-1. But it's unlikely that anyone beats them. And another issue would be the defense, because the defense they've got a lot of new faces there. That could be an issue for them. But their offense is probably going to be even better than it was last year. It should be better than it was last year with Trevor Lawrence in his second year, one of the early Heisman favorites. So because of that, I mean, even if the defense does give up 21 points, the offense is probably going to put up 30 to 40 points on any given game. So again, I don't really see them losing to anyone. 11, 12 wins, somewhere in there. You guys let me know what you think about this Clemson team. How do you think the season's going to go? It seems like they're the clear favorite once again in the ACC, that they're going to march right through this conference. And looking at it right now, I would say that is going to be the case. Thank you for watching this video. If you are an ACC football fan, please subscribe to the channel. Leave us your thoughts down in the comments below. And for the latest in ACC football, keep it right here